So episode 1 of the Book of Boba Fett has just released on Disney Plus today. I watched it and I want to share my thoughts with you guys on it because there are some positives in there, but there are also some negatives. I'm going to structure this review exactly how I just described it. I'm going to talk about the positives first and then later on come to a point where I will highlight some of the points that didn't look so good to me personally. But before we get into all this, spoiler warning. Guys, if you haven't watched it, you still want to watch it, I'm going to spoil everything in this review, okay? I'm not going to hold back. I will go into specific scenes. So if you still want to watch it yourself, leave now, okay? I'm not going to repeat this. Last warning, everything will be spoiled. So first of all, I thought the vibe of the show was spot on, okay? And it's very clear that it's Favreau and Filoni, and it feels very much like The Mandalorian. It feels like a Western. The music was spot on. It felt great. I loved that the set pieces were actually quite minimal. A lot of the scenes felt like quite reduced in what you see, and I thought that worked really well. They also had like these elements of Japanese culture in there, like with these guys jumping on the roofs that looked like ninjas and stuff. So I thought overall it was a successful mix, but nonetheless, I feel it wore already a little bit off. With The Mandalorian, that direction they had blew me away, right? It was so spot on and so fresh and new. This feels like a direct continuation, so it doesn't blow me away that much anymore. At least in terms of the visual direction, the audio, and all the things I just mentioned. Also, I really enjoyed this conversation between Boba Fett and this representative of the mayor, right, where they're just playing 4D chess and kind of testing their powers, right, who can go how far and all that. I thought that was really nice, that was really subtle, and generally it feels like there's an overall tone of like subtle aggression over the whole show, which I thought was really nice, right, because that's kind of what Tatooine is, what Mos Eisley is. Everyone wants to backstab you as soon as they get the chance, but since Boba Fett now is kind of the new Jabba or some kind of gangster kingpin, they have to be nice to him. So it was not only those conversations in Jabba's palace when everyone's giving him gifts and trying to get his sympathy. It was also the lady in the Mos Eisley cantina that was extremely friendly and supportive up front, but you know exactly in the tone how all these people talk. It just feels like they're ready to murder him at any second, right? And quite quickly you realize that's the ambition anyway because he gets attacked by these ninja guys and all that. So I felt that was a quite nice tone to the show. That worked really well. I also enjoyed the Easter egg around Uncle Owen's and Aunt Beru's house, right? And I had to look this up because they're walking through the desert and they see this plume of smoke on the horizon and they look over the dune and they see this house getting raided, and it's eerily reminiscent of Uncle Owen's house. And then Guy comes out of the house and he even looks like Uncle Owen and he falls in the same position that Uncle Owen lays, or Aunt Beru lays, I don't know, we can't tell, but you know, where this burnt corpse lays in the original movie. But obviously in the timeline of things, it doesn't make sense, right? Because this is already after Boba Fett escaped the Sarlacc pit, which means Luke is already a Jedi, which means we are way beyond the events of A New Hope. But it was super reminiscent, and I've gone through the effort of actually putting it next to each other. Check this out. So on the top, you have the shot from the Book of Boba Fett, and on the bottom, it's A New Hope. And there's even a little hill on the right side there. Do you see this? It's a slightly different house, right? It's not the same house, but it's eerily reminiscent. And I'm not sure, maybe they're going somewhere with this. I don't know. It just felt like, why would he place something so obvious in that show if he's not going anywhere with it? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I enjoyed they put that in and it gave me a little bit of like nostalgia goosebumps. It's like, oh, that's nice. That's a nice thing to see. I also enjoyed that for the first time we got a quite in-depth look at the culture or existence of these Tusken Raiders. Previously, we didn't know much about those sand people, but now we see their camps, we see how they treat their prisoners, we see about their honor system, we see that they live with children and all that, and it just felt like a beautifully natural expansion of what we already knew about them. It felt like it perfectly fell into place, felt very true to the original, so I enjoyed that, and kind of the whole episode, right? All these dreams and visions that he had, that Boba Fett had when he was in this tank, told us a lot about those Tusken Raiders. Also the Jawa scene, I thought that was cool. I mean, we've seen a lot about the Jawas already in The Mandalorian, and that was great as well, but the focus on those Tusken Raiders and their culture here and how they live and all that, I really enjoyed that. Also the scene of the sand monster, I thought that was cool, especially because the sand monster looked so much like a practical effect. The whole design of that creature looked like they dug it out from the 1970s and animated it with today's technology, especially the head sculpt and all that. And I wonder if that's the case. I don't know, obviously, I'm just speculating. But this felt like something that was scrapped from the original trilogy in the 1970s, then dug out and reused for this show. And whether it's true or not, the design of it felt very in keeping with the Star Wars universe, and you can totally see that someone put a lot of thought into it, making it feel in keeping with everything, all the creatures that we already know from the Star Wars universe. And these are kind of my positives. This is stuff that I really enjoyed. Now I'm going to come to the things that I didn't like so much. And a lot of this stuff is just my personal opinion. Yeah? It's my personal observation. It's not like objectively wrong with the show or ruins the show by any means. Again, I really enjoyed it overall. I thought it was a real fun watch, and the cliffhanger in the end had me really sitting on the edge of my seat. I can't wait to see where we're going next week. But one thing that stood out a little bit to me was how they portrayed Boba Fett as a whole, right? He's been portrayed now as this super epic, muscly, tough, badass survivor kind of guy who's also modest, right? Like when they say, oh, dude, we should carry you around Mos Eisley so people have a bit more respect. He's like, don't carry me around. I'm not a noble man, or something along those lines. I don't know what exactly he says. And I know that they're taking a lot of it from the Mandalorian episode where Boba Fett was in that already. And it's literally a continuation of that character. And it's fine. And I'm also not criticizing the actor who portrays Boba Fett. He's doing a great job. But at the same time, I personally, coming from the original trilogy, saw him much more as kind of a snitch fraudster type of guy who relies heavily like on his gadgets and is just waiting to backstab you. Basically a horrible character, like just an a-hole, right? Who would do anything for money, who would play for both sides, cheat this guy, cheat that guy, take money from both of them and just run with it. Not as this kind of super tough guy who has like a modest side and who is clearly like a character that you kind of can look up to, that you don't want to hate. And I understand why they do it, okay? Like, fans love him. This is his show. He's at the center of it. So he has to be a kind of likable badass. He can't be this really horrible bounty hunter character that nobody really likes, that constantly makes decisions of backstabbing people. So I feel for the sake of this show, they're kind of elevating him into something that he's not been in the original trilogy and turning him into something new, if that makes sense. And I regretted that a little bit, okay? Because I think, why do you have to do it? Why does he have to be this super likable, cool, badass character, you know, that everyone looks up to? Why can we not see a show about this horrible bounty hunter guy, right? Who constantly makes horrible backstabbing decisions. And again, this is episode 1, right? This is the first episode. We might see more of that as we see more episodes. But at the moment, looking at how they portrayed him in this episode, it very much feels like they want to paint him as nearly like a hero character. Very positive, very relatable character that has a heart as well. And that's just really tough and badass and admirable. And I feel there's nearly like a little bit of a missed opportunity there to tell a story about a really horrible character within the Star Wars universe that you don't like. Because if you look at it in a nutshell, why does this show exist? This show exists because people love Boba Fett. Nobody really knows why. He's never been like a predominant character, but our focus groups at Disney have shown that everyone likes Boba Fett, okay? Probably it's just the design of the costume, whatever it is. People like Boba Fett, so we have to make a show about him. So on the back of that kind of concept, I can see how they're like, well, you know, we can't turn him into this horrible person that nobody likes, so we kind of have to twist it so he becomes a different character. And I just feel like that's not necessary. That wouldn't have been necessary. Why can Filoni and Favreau not go all the way, tell the story of this horrible bounty hunter that's greedy, that backstabs people, that does things to characters that you like, that is actually horrible? I think that could have created a nice tension. And maybe, again, episode 1, okay? Maybe they're going there later on, but it feels to me like at the moment that's not what they're doing. Also, the big elephant in the room, I mean, he's replaced Jabba, okay? We don't really know why, but he is now this big gangster kingpin. And that also spawned like a few inconsistencies. I don't want to call it that necessarily, but some stuff that stood out to me. For example, when he gets out of this tank, they put this armor on him, and everyone's like, oh yeah, Master Fett or whatever they call him, treating him like he's this ultimate badass boss. But all his armor still has the same scratches. His helm has the dent in it. And it's like, dude, if you would be this monstrous, presumably quite rich gangster kingpin, would you not give your armor like a new paint job and push the dents out? And it's like, no, we have to keep the dents because the focus groups say that 80% of the love for this character is based on his outfit, so we can't change the outfit, you know what I mean? It's a bit like, oh no. And I understand that's not an argument that makes or breaks the show. It's just stuff that stood out to me, where I was like, you know, come on, man. If you tell the story about him and he is the new Jabba, and I was waiting why he is, I hope they're going to tell that to us in a later episode. Probably they will. But if you go down that route and he is this gangster kingpin, then at least be consistent with it, yeah? He's got like a new shiny armor, and I understand you can make the argument against that as well, right? Like I said before, he doesn't want to be carried around. He wants to be like this modest gangster kingpin or whatever. And then you can say, yeah, that's why he kept the armor. So there were just like a few of those inconsistencies that I thought I saw that it gave me a little bit of a hiccup, right? Where I was like, I don't know, that doesn't feel like the character that I had in my mind. I think their idea, and it's just me speculating obviously, is to overhype him a bit, right? They're putting him on a pedestal. They, like I said before, they want to make him a character that people look up to, that's admirable, that's a positive character, when actually Boba Fett, as well as his father, were kind of just scum, okay? They're bounty hunter scum. They're horrible people. And it also worries me, looking forward to this Obi Wan show that's coming at some point, because ultimately that Obi Wan show is going to be Obi Wan just being on Tatooine in exile, watching over Luke. And I know there are a few hints, you know, where Vader, when he meets Obi-Wan, says, you know, after so many years we meet again and stuff, which indicates that they met in between their big fight on episode 3, the end of episode 3, and when Obi-Wan is an old man. So there's definitely something happening between them, but I'm worried that they're going to take this story that's in and in itself not very packed with action, right? Obi-Wan being on Tatooine in exile because he's hiding from Vader's powers and him trying to track him down, and turn it into this action-packed, crazy adventure of Obi-Wan traveling through the universe. And just, it's like, okay, it's a good show, it's fun to watch, it looks great, it's done by Filoni and Favreau, so it has the right look and feel and all that, but it tells a story that just exaggerates what we all kind of expected to be there for the sake of it being entertaining for a show. And I'm a little bit seeing this in this show as well, where they take this character, and the only reason why this show exists is because people like Boba Fett. So we have to somehow, you know, pull a story from somewhere that is entertaining enough for, I think, 7 episodes or whatever it is, 7 episodes, something like that, that is built around this character and exaggerates him a bit. So I don't know, man. Like, overall, again, I loved it. I think it's cool. And I think there's absolutely room for telling a lot of stories that nullify a lot of the stuff that I say now in the episodes to come. But just watching episode 1, it's a bit like, they're going a bit too far with some of that stuff. Anyway, that's just my opinion. These are my thoughts, my observations. I can totally understand if you have a different view on things. If you do, then please share your thoughts down in the comment section below. I'm generally curious to hear your thoughts on the show as well. Again, I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to watch the next episode next week. I'm not sure I'm going to do a review for every single episode, but I might do like a regular checkup on the show after 2-3 episodes or something, and share my view on the progression of the show, I guess. Anyway, guys, these are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, please share yours down in the comment section below. I'd very much appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to smash the like button. As always, you can subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things so you're not missing any uploads in the future. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really appreciate you, and I see you in the next one. I'm out. Bye.